And welcome to Optional Enterprises watch list for the week of October 21st, 2019. And we're going to start off this week a little different. We're going to start with SPY rather than our actual securities here, and I think that's important to understand what we're looking at for SPY this week, because it might give us a better idea of where we need to be looking as far as shorts, longs, reversals, or continuations. I had a lot of reversals this week that definitely looked like great reversals, but being that I am looking to the short side on the SPY this week, I might be looking at some of these reversals being continuations then turning into reversals. So getting started here, remember we've got two important levels that we want to be aware of, which one is right here. We're looking at this block trade at 293.13, had 6 blocks reported on the 8th, so that's an important level to be concerned about if we do decide to start falling back down. But there's one other block level that we want to be paying attention to this week, which is up here, and those were reported at 296.39. I only saw 3 of them that day. There could have been more, but definitely not as strong of a block level if 3 was actually in fact correct. But what's important to know is that we had institutions coming in around 293 and 296. So those are 2 important levels that we definitely want to be watching, especially since this chart has changed finally after this magnificent rally that just really seemed to come out of nowhere. After this huge rally up, we finally started to switch to the downside, and we've got our blocks positioned, right there and right there. So those are 2 areas that we're definitely watching for the SPY. We can see that we've definitely had about a 50% retracement into this large candle right here. So that's something to keep an eye on right now. You see that we've got, zoom in on that a little bit. It's definitely about a 50% retracement. Right there is the 50% bar, and we're just a little below it right now. We can see that we sold strong into it. We've got some strong volume for this day. Trading at 93% of our 30-day average, so not spectacular, but still a pretty good sell day. Is this a basing pattern forming a nice little flag for us to shoot higher, or is this the start of finally what could be the sell down? Given that volatility is so low, I'm more inclined to the downside. Of course, volatility is not directional, but let's go take a look at the open interest, and I've definitely found some open interest that supports a bearish thesis. Alright folks, so here we are on the SPY's open interest for October 21st, the expiration day, and we're looking at much more productivity. See, we've got at these 298 strikes. Let's clear that up a little bit. That's a little annoying. Okay, so at the 298 strikes, you see we've got about 45,000 open interest. That's right at 298, which is right where it closed. So what does that tell us? Not a whole lot until we see Monday morning's numbers. Does this switch to open interest? Does this not switch to open interest? If this switches to open interest, of course, there's always 2 ways to interpret it. We're looking at 298 being support, and we're just going straight up from there. However, given the state of the last 2 days, it is more likely, should these numbers convert to a nice high open interest number, that we're looking at 298 being a shoot through, and we're looking down to 297 to be our first support, followed by 296, and then followed by 295. And now that'd be about a $3 move. We're not looking for that big of a move, $1.83. So more realistically, we're definitely looking at 296 as a possible short candidate, which, might I remind you, lines up with that block trade that the institutions came in at. So Are we starting to see a little bit of a trade idea here? Well, I certainly am. 298 being a short candidate, down to 296, which is about where that where those block trades took place with the large institutions. Another thing to pay attention to that supports a bearish thesis is we do not have an incredible amount of volume traded on these calls. Of course, any logical person is going to say, look, we're looking at bearish activity on Friday. Who's going to trade that? Who's going to think calls are bullish activity come Monday? Well, nobody really. So, yeah, you're right. We're going to have to see some Monday activity to really verify that we're looking at a bearish move come Monday. But the way it looks right now, I'm looking to the short side. We see some large activity above the market, which 301 we got about 17,000, 300 we got about 12,000, and 299 we've got almost 30,000. So these are either very speculative bets that we're going to see through 299, close out above 299, which we're not too far off. It's about $1, probably $1.50, $2 to make it really worth their time, given that the theta over the weekend is chewed up about half of this premium. Or we could be looking at 298 support, 299 being resistance, and then a short down through 298, back down maybe 297. Either way, all the open interest and the volume supports a short for SPY come Monday. Just my idea, not investment advice, but that's what I'll be looking to Monday morning, is definitely to the short side. But of course, we're going to have to look at price action to confirm all that. So that's just my thoughts. Take it for what it's worth. Of course, be sure to follow me on my Instagram. I'll be posting live trades all week. And on to our watch list. Alrighty, so ticker symbol LEN. This one was a great win for us last week, about 100% after this pullback. You can see that we got our entry pretty well confirmed. We held that support level, couldn't break it, and boom, shot straight up. Now this week we are looking at either 6101 holding for a rise up, or a break 6101 for a short down to 5961, and then back down to our support of 5797. So let's go take a look at our open interest and see what we can find to help us trade this. Again, I want to reiterate that if 6101 holds, we're looking at 6393 being our next potential target, which definitely is confirmed by our chart. Remember, we're at a pretty strong support or resistance level here, so and this consumer discretionary stock has been doing extremely well. Consumer discretionary also saw a nice bid on Monday, especially the ETF. So let's go take a look at our open interest and see what we can find. Alright guys, so ticker symbol LEN. This one had a great run for us last week. I think it was about 150% gainer for us. We're looking at the November 15th. And what's really important for us right now is going to be these 65 strikes and these 60 strikes. See, we've got about 15,000 open interest on the 60s and about 10,000 on the 65s. So to me, it looks like we could be looking for another rise this week for LEN up through 6250, finding some resistance around this 65 area. Around that 65 area, I'd be starting to look for some open interest being added into these puts over here. Looks like we've got about a $3.53 expected move, which definitely supports our underlyings right now is at 61.71. That'll bring us to about 65.20, and that's, I think, is where we're looking for a top. Remember that these still have 30 days to expiration, so this could actually be looking at just some sideways action. But this one has been a pretty strong market participant, meaning when the market sells off, this one just continues to hold. It doesn't really sell off, it just sells into its support and then rallies. The market right now definitely looks like it's ready for a sell, but this could just be the calm before the rise again. So something just to keep an eye out for, again, is a rise through 62.50 up to 65 this week, and then a pullback into support, which would be around our 61 area. So that's what I believe for LEN this week. Keep an eye on XLP and other consumer discretionaries, some of the stronger ones like KBH, who seem to follow suit with LEN. Alright folks, so ticker symbol TSM, this one was a play from last week. Did very well for us as far as shooting straight up. We held our support level right there at 49.30, and we shot up as high as 51.21 before we got that final reversal. You can see we're resting here on the 10 EMA, also a pretty strong support level around the 49.30, about 2 cents below it as a matter of fact. Fib symmetry, we see we've gotten this move before. Once right here, and let's just take a look at that real quick. So there is about a dollar, say about $1.50 right there, and about another $1.50 move right there, and we can see that we've actually exceeded that $1.50 move this time. This move looks to be about $2.30, so we've definitely overextended the move as far as the symmetry is concerned. So is this a selling point for us to go short? Well, we want to see it kind of break this 10 EMA first. That would be nice. Also, this support level, which is right around 48.91. I want to see that 48.91 break for a short back down to our next support, which would be around 48.20 and 47.43. Remember, we've already had a nice sizable move right here, so this could be a sell into support for a further rise up. However, the selling volume, definitely, look at that, 115% 30-day average. So could the selling continue finally on TSM? Well, SOXL, the ETF for the semiconductors, certainly supports it. The whole tech sector, XLK, saw a nice sell-off come Friday. So since that seems to be leading the market right now, TSM could definitely be looking to follow suit with its bigger brothers, and we could be looking for that short down for around $2. Let's go take a look at our open interest and see what we can find to help us trade this. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, ticker symbol TSM. We had a nice run on this one last week, and this week we're actually looking for a pullback for TSM. And our main reason for thinking this is going to be focused right around these 50 puts. These were started to get added on the 14th with about 300 contracts going into them, and then subsequently after that we were looking at around 600, and then we had I think it was another 700 or so put into them, ultimately adding up to this number here, 1,246. Right now they're currently in for break even. So this is above the market where we are right now, and what's also interesting is we also have these large volume puts being added on the 49 through 48s, which tells me that if these were option buyers looking at a temporary top for TSM, which SOXL definitely supports, we're looking at a pullback in tech at the moment. The XLK is definitely overextended. SOXL is seeing 3 days of pullback, and TSM is part of SOXL or the semiconductor ETF. So we could be looking for a pullback down through 48, which isn't huge. It's about $1.20. So not a huge return. Definitely get about 80 to 90% on this one, which still isn't a bad day for anybody, I don't think. But if you're looking for greater returns, there's definitely other securities in the SOXL that might give you something better. But for me, this definitely looks like 50 is going to be our top. We might see a temporary rise up through 40, up to 50. But I think ultimately we're looking for a pullback down through 48. Also, although we do have large open interest being maintained over here, and we didn't see a lot of volume taken away on bearish activity, so we could be pulling back into support, in which case these 50s are new sellers, and we're actually looking for a rise up through 50 and up to our 55 area, which we don't see a lot of resistance over here for. So that could be a possibility. But the market is kind of at a critical area right here, and we could be looking at some pretty level activity. Not a huge rain this week for the SPX and the Dow Jones or the Russell. The volatility has definitely contracted these last few weeks, so our trading range is much smaller, and I think a little bit of distribution like we saw towards the end of the week last week would be in order. So TSM, I'm looking for a pullback right now. I know it saw some pretty strong days. We shot up 251 and came back down to where we are now. Yeah, we want to see these become ads and not just people trading the short-term fallback. We'd like to see these be ads, and we'd also like to see some lightening up on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday on these above the market orders, and possibly even see some of these 49s lighten up. You can see we still got a large concentration of open interest up down to 47. So I think 47 would definitely be a great lower support level for that pullback. Alright, so our next symbol here is RWRS. This is a pharmaceutical company, which they have not been doing well recently, but the ones that are doing well are doing fantastic. Some examples: Teva doing horrible right now. Looks like it's finally catching a bid. Been watching that one for a while, but we're going to focus on ARWR right here. This is a monthly chart of AWR, and you can see that we just tested a pretty critical area right here, which you can see that being fairly critical. We just broke through it on some fairly good volume, but we're looking at some selling here, and we're definitely at the upper end of this resistance area. So this was triggered for a reversal on the yearly, and it's also got a nice shooting star right up there. So that's always a great sign for us. We got some great selling volume, but pause for hesitation. This is an inside day. We did not break the low of this current day, so we're really looking for a break at 34.45 to get short. If you could be a little more aggressive and get in, depending what Monday looks like, of course, but you could get in right away and short it down to 34.45, which is about $1.50, which gets you about 75% return on your money. Not a great return, but what we really want to capture is something like this. You'd like to capture something like that for a nice move, but we're definitely looking to the short side on ARWR. If we can get below this 34.45, that is a more a safer play. Like I said, you could be more aggressive and kind of short at the open and have your stop placed somewhere around up here for about 50 cents, which would probably lose you about 20% of your option, which isn't bad. Definitely well within our ranges. So let's go take a look at our open interest, see what we can find. Again, we're looking for a short down. We want to see 34.45 break for a short down to 33.25, and ultimately this support zone, which I have highlighted. We've got three strong support areas: 31.83, 31.15, 30.53. All tight ranges where a lot of this breakout began. So that would be my ultimate target, 31.83. Alright, next symbol here we've got is ARWR, and this is a pharmaceutical company. Pharmaceuticals have not been doing well, but the ones that have been doing well have been doing spectacular. So there's not a whole lot of open interest on this one. Some key positions that we want to watch into next week. Keep in mind that these are November 16th or November 15th expirations, so of course we're not looking for immediate moves. Any type of move that we do get that's in our favor, I'll be taking profit very quickly. But right now we're looking at these 26 calls, which have a great open interest on them of 1,500. If we can start to see that lighten up, that's going to be a huge indicator that ARWR is definitely ready to sell. We've got a small gambler over here who, this was one order, placed at 36 puts, 100. Placed his order at 345, now trading at 260. So you can see he's up about 15 cents on his, or about $1,500. Something tells me he's holding in for a little something stronger. So not a great indication that ARWR is ready to sell, but we did get that great shooting star on the chart. However, it is an inside day. It just sold into the prior day's low, about 50% retracement of that bar, in fact. So we definitely want to see it break below that day before we start thinking short on ARWR. If you're more of an aggressive speculator, you can definitely get in Monday and use the prior open as your stop loss. But this definitely looks like a good short for me, and I will be focusing probably around these 35 or these 34 puts, depending on what it looks like Monday. But those are definitely just the key areas to watch. You just want to watch these 26s, because whoever and whenever starts to exit these, we see this number decreasing, that could be our indication that ARWR is definitely ready for the short down. Otherwise, if we're holding, then we could definitely be looking to some higher strikes, but not too much higher. This one is definitely overextended, so something to keep an eye out for ARWR. Alright guys, so take a simple YNDX. This one was triggered for a reversal. However, I am looking at a continuation before entering into a reversal, and this continuation is going to bring us down to this monthly support right around this 26 area, 2670s. And you know, this one is not hard to see. We've got some large selling volume right there. Got volatility expansion down here. So, and we've broken below the 786 on the fib level, so it'd be pretty miraculous for this thing to shoot back up. But it's not impossible, because it is triggered for a reversal, and you know, typically after we find that trigger, then this thing shoots straight up to the upside, at least temporarily, finding maybe some resistance around this area here, which is around the 31 area, which give you about $1.20 in move. That would say if you got right in, which definitely we're not looking to do. Right now, I find no good support around here. You could definitely be looking at this 29.20 being possible support, and then 28.57. This is kind of a support zone that we seem to be holding, but the open interest definitely suggests that we're looking for some more downside on YNDX. So this could just be a gap down. If it's a gap down into this monthly support, then I'd be looking for some calls on the reversal. But let's go take a look at that open interest and see what we can find. Alright guys, so ticker symbol YNDX. This one definitely it's triggered for a reversal, but I think we're going to see a short before we get our reversal in. So, and the only reason I say that I'm looking for a continuation rather than reversal on YNDX is going to be this huge open interest that we see focused here on these 30 strikes. Right now we're at 29.76, so definitely a little suspicious. We've got a lot of activity above the market, which means we're not looking for a huge rally out of this. You know, let's see, we got some orders over here at 33, and some pretty large orders over here. Not large, but large considering the relative liquidity of this particular security. All above the market. You know, 33, that's about a $4 move from where we're at, so that's, you know, what is, $3 would be 10%, so it's like a 13% move to the upside. So they're definitely expecting less than that. Looking like $1.82 right now is our expected move on this particular strike, which is a weekly. Thank God, finally some weeklies that we can use here. I like weeklies more than I like months. So this 30 with this much volume, if this becomes open interest on Monday, given where this particular security went after the market closed out at 30.40, looks like. So it started to sell off afterwards with this large volume. That definitely tells me that we're looking through a fallback through 30 down to our lower support, which I believe is around 28. Which we've got some orders over here that definitely kind of support this thesis. Some believers over here though. So, but if that idea is correct and we get this fall down to around this 28 level, that's where I'd be looking for the reversal to get back in, and definitely not right away. Definitely look for a little bit of accumulation down there before you decide to get in. But I think right now we're looking at YNDX for a short down to maybe 28, and that's going to be the main thing you want to check Monday morning right away. Just go open it up, check it out, see what this open interest has become. It was one large sale over around these 30s, so that's something to keep an eye on too. Alright, so next symbol here is FOXA, Fox Corporation, and this one was triggered for a reversal. We got that reversal on the 9th, which is this day right here is when it was triggered, and you can see we already got that reversal that came in last week. It was a great play for, well, I didn't actually alert this to anyone, but it was a great play for me. And right now, we're at a pretty critical level. We've just broken above this, so what we're really looking for is maybe a retest of this upper resistance level here, and for it to hold. We'd really like to see at least the high of this candle, 3201. We'd like to see 3201 hold, and at the very minimum, you'd like to see 3161 hold. So those are going to be our two areas of support. We can get one of those two areas to hold at the very minimum, then we're definitely looking for or shoot straight up, which our open interest definitely suggests, which we're going to go take a look at right now. This is a very simple play. I'm not looking to the short side at all. If it does break, then you could possibly short it down, but I'm not looking for that at all. I'm looking for this one to continue higher. So let's go take a look at our open interest and see what we can find. Right now, if this one does continue higher, I'm looking for 33.65 or the high of this candle here, which is around 33.59. And then ultimately up to 34.79, which is a pretty miraculous move for this, given what just happened. So let's go take a look at our open interest and see what we can find. Alright folks, so our next ticker symbol here is going to be FOXA. And really, the only thing we're focusing on here is a very simple trade. We're bullish on Fox. Even given the condition of the market, we really just need 32 to hold. We've got some great open interest, 15,000 or 1,536. So not a huge order, but still large enough to be significant. And we've got a little bit of activity below the market. So essentially, we're just looking for this level to hold for a rise up. Get out somewhere around 100%. So if these come Monday, looks like they'll be trading around 50. Say around 52 cents. If you can get in for around that area and you can get out for $1, hey, that's a win in my book. So, of course, if for whatever reason this chart that's set up perfectly to the upside does break below 32, and we start to see some volume on here, these are going to be sellers, and we're looking for a fallback to the lower support level that I noted on the chart. Alright folks, ticker symbol PG, Procter & Gamble. We're looking for a rise up to around 120 on this one. We found some nice support down here on this 100 EMA on the yearly chart right there, and essentially we're just looking for this one to come up right through this what was support, and we're looking for a rise up to around 120. Our open interest definitely supports this. We've had some pretty blatant ads that definitely support this rise up. This is Procter & Gamble we're talking about here, and given that healthcare is looking at a strong rally, however, it does look poised for a pullback. We need to see what's going to happen Monday, but this one definitely looks good for a rise up. If, however, we cannot maintain this current level, say around 117.22, at the very minimum, ride this 100 EMA, then I'd just be staying away from it. As you can see, Procter & Gamble, when it does decide to rise, does pretty well, but when it decides to fall, it just kind of chops. See that demonstrated over and over, chop. Don't get too many strong sells, you get them every now and then, but more than likely we're looking for a nice rise up. Again, we're looking for around 120. So let's go take a look at our open interest and I'll show you what I found there. Alright, so ticker symbol Procter & Gamble PG. This is going to be a fallback plan should the market decide to sell off. Even though healthcare, the XLV, has rallied significantly and really looks like it's ready for some pullback, Procter & Gamble was triggered for a reversal to the upside after its fairly large decline. I think we're sitting right around the 100 EMA on a yearly chart, a max yearly chart. And the main focus for this trade, for me, are going to be right here at these 118 strikes. These were actually added on the 17th for a price of 160 by 165. So you can definitely see that these guys are up a little bit of money, you know, about 30 cents. And we're looking for a rise through 118 to our upper resistance levels. On the flip side too, Monday, it wouldn't hurt if these happen to be option buyers expecting some more fallback. We'd like to see that lighten up, or the position just to maintain if these in fact happen to be option sellers. According to the open interest, we could definitely be looking at 120 being our upper resistance level, followed swiftly by 123. Of course, that could all change should some volume come in for that day. And that's all I believe for Procter & Gamble. So right now we're watching that 118 level. Still got some great open interest with some maintaining positions there. You can see that was an add, 3052 added Thursday into Friday, and you can see that was happened on bullish activity. So that is a great confirmation. That combined with its current support level of 100 EMA, and it's Procter & Gamble. It's not going anywhere. They are literally in almost every store that sells healthcare products, you know, cosmetic stuff. They're everywhere. So let's focus on that 118 level and hope that we can get up to 120 on some good momentum. And finally, we've got ticker symbol CROX. This one has been doing fantastic. As you can tell, it's just been a straight up. We had a nice cup and handle here with that final breakout above. This one could definitely be looking for some higher moves if we can get this 3168 to hold, which right now is 30. You know, we're at 3279, so it actually raised that up. I'd like to see the open of this candle 3243. I'd like to see 3243 hold. If we can get that 3243 to hold, then we're definitely looking up a higher. And there was some interesting ads on the open interest that we can see. We're going to go look at that right now. These could be option sellers, they could be option buyers. The past definitely suggests that as an option buyer looking for a nice rise up to maybe around the 35 zone. So that's not definitely not impossible to look at. You can see that we've just broken through some pretty critical resistance areas over here. So we could be looking at 35 being our next level. But let's go take a look at some open interest and see what we can find over there. Alright, so our next symbol this week is going to be CROX, and our main areas of interest are going to be three specific strikes. Looking at the 29 strikes, the 33 strikes, and of course the 35 strikes, which are right there. You can see they all have 1,000 plus open interest on them. So on October 3rd, we saw the 29th 33 strikes. Those were both opened up at the same time, 1500 and 1500. They have since, I believe these 33s were added for a price of around 80 cents. I don't specifically remember what the 39 or the 29s were entered at. Let's see if we can look real quick here. So we go to the third and we see that these 29s are entered at a price of 195 by 220 for around $2. And so those have also doubled. So both of these positions have made well over 100% on their trade. And we just had another ad. We jump up to the 17th, draw, clear all, and you see that we've got a nice new ad on the 35s. So we started to see a pattern here, maybe 29s. These were both added at the same time. Looks like this person might have been looking at a 33 strike as a top. So this, what I mean by that is they could have bought the 29s, sold the 33s. That is just about to start going against them. If they start rising through the 33s, these could just be two buys, which doesn't seem terribly likely, but it could be. So we could be looking at a resistance level here at 33. For some fallback, but the volume definitely doesn't support that. You know, we look at the volume on this chart, it's just been increasing, which means we could be looking up for a rise through 33 up to 35, and that being our potential resistance zone. Remember that these are 29 days till expiration, so there's some time on these options. You know, data isn't terribly expensive, so you know, wait to see some price action. This one is definitely to watch throughout the week. Maybe not to get in right away, but as it stands, and the pattern being consistent, I would definitely say we're looking for a rise through 33 up to 35. But if we can't get above this 30 through 33 area, I'd be looking for some fallback down. So that's it for CROX. Let's move on to the next one. Okay guys, thank you for watching my watch list this week. I wish you profits. I hope this was helpful, and I will talk to you next time.